care what anybody says. That's a bad shot. But, hey, he made it. That story won't be told. That it was a bad shot. We live with that.
Lillard responded on Twitter with a simple LOL. So, Shannon, what did you make of those comments from Paul George?
PG doesn't want to give Dame credit. Skip, he's sitting up on the desk at the podium with a guy that took 15 bad shots that night. Just last night. Not forget the regular season.
Yep.
And then because I could see if Dame heaved the ball, but that was Dame's normal shot. He didn't add anything extra, Skip. That's the way Dame Lillard shoots. He shoots the ball like that. And what we see now that these guys have gotten so good at shooting the three, there's really the Dames and the Steph Currys and the James Harden, the Clay. Skip, there is no bad shot for these guys. They practice all these shots during the course of practice.
And he said he often practices that shot.
Yes!
And by the way, earlier in the game, he had made exactly that shot from that distance.
Exactly.
Yep.
How many times did we see him come off the screen at the top of the key between two defenders? Let it go, Skip. I think those are bad shots compared to that one because he's sizing you up, PG, the whole while. He knows exactly where he wants to get to. He walks the ball up. He could have went left, but that's not what he did. He could have stayed at the top of the key. That's not what he did. He started easily, gradually going to his right, and then he steps further so you can't contest the shot, and boom. Give him credit. And what we're starting to see from Paul George, he doesn't want to give anybody credit because remember, he tried to downplay what Patrick Beverley had done to him when they played the Clippers. At some point in time, you can play great defense, Skip, but if the guy plays offense better, you just chalk it up. Hey, he got me on that one. Man, I had that ball well covered. Great throw, great catch. Pitch, hey, you make the perfect pitch, the guy gets wood on it, it's out of the park, Skip. Sometimes you have to give, it's not what you didn't do, it's what the other guy did do. Just give credit and move on. You're going home, but for you to try to downplay that PG, that's wrong, bro. You wrong for that one.
Well, his PG, as in point guard, is rubbing off on him in post-game interviews, right?
Yes.
Right?
So
because
true.
That's Russ's attitude, demeanor, surly, disrespectful, and so he couldn't even give Damian Lillard any respect.
None.
Because it was a hellacious great shot. It's as you know, it's hard to jump and shoot the ball that far and keep it on line without just throwing it, you know, without just shoving it or shot putting it. And it was a stroke. It was pretty. It was real. It left his hand and it just felt right. It looked good to me.
He basically like Enes Kanter shot that ball. But did PG know that up until that, when he shot that shot, he was 3 of 5 from that distance in the game? Did you know that? He had already made 9 threes, Skip, had 47. He made it seem like the dude was 0 for his previous 8 threes and only had 15 points. PG, he had 47 points. He had 9 threes, and he was 3 of 5 from 30 feet or further in the game.
And the reason Paul should have given him credit is Paul played it as well as you can play.
Yes!
And he's 6'8". He's 5 inches taller than Damian Lillard. And he extended fully and got a hand up without fouling and bothered that shot as best he could bother it. And he still swished it.
Yes.
Okay? You just say, that's too good. Right?
Hey, that's when that's the one you turn and look to your coach. What you want?
Basically,
like when Michael started stroking him against the very Blazers, not this Blazer, but the Portland Skip. I mean, he just like, what? I don't know what happened. Bro, Paul, there's nothing you can do. He had already scared him, Skip, because remember you said, Dame, how do you let Dame get a layup? So he had already blew by Paul George. Paul knows he has the quickness and the handles to get around him. Which would you rather a Dame Lillard attempt, Skip? A 37-foot 3 or a 15-foot 2? Paul George waited, okay, I'm gonna play this. You're not getting to the rim, you're not getting in the lane. If you make this shot, it's like a Hail Mary, Skip. I got the lead. If you could complete a 70-yard Hail Mary, you know, that's why you get so upset with Coach Belichick. Do you actually think Ryan Tannehill, who missed the previous 3 games with a sore shoulder, can heave the ball 70 yards? If he does, you got it. You deserve to win. Paul, he made a 37-foot 3. You played it as well as you can play it. Hey, I did everything. I contested it. Give Dame credit. That's normally what they do. Hey, he made a heck of a shot. Oh, I'm going to ask you this, Paul. You going to tell your kids about this game? You going to tell them? You're talking about, oh, the story won't be told. Are you going to tell your kid or grandkid, man, your dad, your papa, man, Dame Lillard put a 50-piece on me and hit a 37-foot game winner. You're not telling that story. You know why? Because you in OKC. Story ain't going to be told because they're going to blame Russ.
That is correct. And Paul George today can shrink back into these small town shadows in my hometown of Oklahoma City, right? Which is exactly why he went to Oklahoma City and then stayed in Oklahoma City.
Because what happened, Skip, when he was the big fish in Indiana and he was coming up small?
He kept coming up against the king.
And
what did I always tell you about George Paul, as I called him? He was a poor man's LeBron, except he was actually a destitute man's LeBron, right? Because he just genuflected at the mere sight of LeBron, and he was the man in Indiana. They had some good teams, man.
They did.
But LeBron
but
couldn't
see,
do that.
he got the blowback for being the man in a small market.
Yep,
Even though it's a small market, you're going to get the blowback because we criticize him because, Paul, you got to take that final shot. Remember game one, Skip? They had him on the ropes.
Yeah, they did.
You got to take that shot, and then he passed the ball to C.J. Miles with 1 second. C.J. shoots it. Well, I got to get that. I need to take that last shot. Bro, you had the ball, and you passed it twice.
I fell on my living room floor and rolled over 3 times. I've never seen anything quite like it. Twice he said, I don't want any part of this.
Right, and then when the guy shoots the ball, I got to take that shot.
Remember, it was Saturday afternoon. It's game 1. And if you win that game, if you make one of those shots, whew, LeBron's in a heap of trouble.
He is.
Right? Nope, but he wasn't.
But I got to take, I got to get the ball.
Yep.
Paul, you had the ball twice. But again, he goes under the fence unscathed because we're talking about Russ, and Russ didn't play particularly well. He had some good moments, but Paul George, again, we're not going to talk about those missed free throws. We're not going to talk about that turnover, and then he's going to criticize. Man, if I was Dame, if I was Dame, I was like, the guy you sitting next to took 15 bad shots just tonight.
You would have tweeted that?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
No, you would IG'd that.
No.
You don't do Twitter.
No, I do. Because, he didn't took a shot at me. Because you remember, Skip, when in game 3, he doing all this and... what?
He was pretty animated.
Now, all of a sudden...
No more.
Now, I don't know what really happened. Oh, you don't? Dame, 50-piece. McDonald's still do 50 pieces.
They do?
Yeah, do a 50-piece.
Really?
Yep, Dame got one last night.
You got one. So speaking of numbers, I do appreciate the fact that Russell Westbrook and Paul George do play in my hometown, and they stay there, but in part, they stay there for the wrong reason because Russell Westbrook makes $41 million a year. Paul George makes $34 million a year. That's a lot of money for those two, right?
Yeah.
And yet they can play in a small market with a little less media pressure, and Russell has no pressure on him to even answer questions from the columnist of the Oklahoman, Barry Trammell. So they can get away with near murder, like with the media, and they can go unscathed. They just get pass after pass.
Well, maybe the local media doesn't condemn Russ, but the outside media does. Paul George go unscathed in both situations.
Yep, he does. But in the end, that game to me last night was about Russell Westbrook, as I call him, because he's still a 2-guard masquerading as a point guard. And I take not one whit away from what he has accomplished over the last 3 years, because it's just virtually impossible to average 3 straight triple-doubles. But it gets you nowhere when it really counts. Because, again, nobody plays harder, but he plays as hard as he can every possession of every game. And you get in a game where you have a 15-point lead with 7 minutes and 12 seconds left, you got to pull back on the throttle.
Smart now.
Yeah, now you got to figure out, how do I get this game literally home to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, how do I get the car? Hey, you're not a big Daytona. Skip, I'm up. I'm in the lead. I'm in the last turn. As long as I don't wreck, I got this. So I don't need to be fancy. I don't need to be doing all that other stuff. Hey, just keep it, come down the embankment, bring it home. Now I'm doing donuts.
Celebrating. Do you think the fan base is going to get tired of this, though?
No.
It's the only game in town except for University of Oklahoma football, but they're so beloved, and that's why Russ and Paul are there, because they're going to get breaks and passes. But I'm sure deep down, a lot of Thunder fans, and I have a bunch of friends who are Thunder fans that I grew up with, I think they're getting uneasy about Russell because they have a love-hate with him because he's not lovable. He doesn't do anything very lovable. It's sort of cute to watch his attire before games. You don't really love a lot of it, but at least it's creative, it's clever, it's outside the box. So he's sort of loved for his attire and his approach and his fearlessness and what he chooses to wear. But as far as the basketball, these are hardcore good fans. They know their basketball. To me, Oklahoma's even more of a basketball state than a football state. That's how I grew up there. It was more with basketball than football. Texas is more the football state. But the point is that I think they're starting to see him objectively, and he's not going to have the clout that he used to have. He's not going to be able to treat the media the way he used to because people are going to call him on it.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. He's a superstar that stayed.
Yep.
The other superstar they had left.
Yep.
So they're going to always have an affinity for him because KD left.
I got it.
And the thing for me, that I dislike even more is the way he treats the media. Bruh, do your job. Yeah. If you stop shooting 40%, you stop shooting 29%, and stop worrying about your stats and win some games, just do your. If you do your job, they're not asking you how much money, all this other stuff. Skip, they just asking him, Russ, you had a 15-point lead in the ball game, under 7 minutes. What went wrong?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't really know. Really? You out there. So that explains why you didn't win. Because he don't know what went wrong, Skip. That's exactly why they didn't win.
Yep.
I think the fan base would get tired of that, too.
Okay.
I mean, if he keeps doing that.
You're right. But from a national perspective, his legacy is starting to smell like that he's a stat-padding loser. That's how it's going to come across. And I know that's harsh today, but 3 straight first-round exits and 4-12 post-Kevin Durant in the postseason.
But he got a triple-double.
Yeah, okay. Well, is that it?
That's what he got triple-double.
That's all we got, though.
31 shots, 29 points.
Yeah.
When is that good?
It's interesting. It's interesting. They've got a lot to think about.